Babylon. Set in 1920s LA, Babylon gives us this insane look into Hollywood's transition from silent films to sound films, and all of the other crazy shit that goes with it. So I'm pretty late to the game here, guys. We English losers only got this film in January. Plus, I wasn't in a rush to see Babylon because, from what I've heard, watching it is like getting screamed at for 3 hours. Well, I've seen it now, and let me put it this way. Babylon has a brain in its head and a heart in its chest. But it also has copious amounts of drugs in its veins, and a phallic item where the sun doesn't shine. Look, I get the complaints, okay? The party scenes will be too much for some, but they only take up about 40 minutes of screen time, which isn't that much when you consider the 3-hour runtime. So it wasn't as much of an assault on the senses as I had expected, and I do think this was mismarketed as a party film. In fact, the party scenes are so far from being about the main subject of Babylon, I don't even know why they needed to be here. The film would have been just fine without them. Still, at least I always found them interesting and funny. The opening 30 minutes not only gave you great exposition for the protagonists, but they're also so fucking insane. Picture Moulin Rouge, okay? Then add an ungodly amount of drugs, then remove some clothes, and then end it all with a load of actual urine and feces. Welcome to Babylon, folks. It is obnoxious and gratuitous, but I can't deny it all tickled the immature parts of me, which also enjoyed Jackass, so there you go. Now, it's no surprise to me that Damien Chazelle made this, because his list of films are all so fucking energetic with fantastic music. Babylon is no different, and the Oscar nominations for Best Soundtrack don't surprise me at all. And it's all shot with such ferocity, man. Great long one-shot takes that all capture the insanity. I just couldn't take my eyes off of the screen. This is gonna look amazing on 4K Blu-ray. Just like the movie Fresh, it takes about 30 minutes for the opening title to appear, and after that, Babylon calmed down and focused on its overall point. Actors and filmmakers learning how to make movies with sound. And most of this was great for me. Not only is it so engaging watching these guys learning how to do what we all take for granted, it's also funny and tragic. We see the rise and fall of multiple actors as they transition between films, dealing with loss and drug addiction, and it all flowed together seamlessly. Brad Pitt is a typical super stud, but has some serious shit to deal with. Tobey Maguire was so creepy, and it's cathartic for me to see him still riding his comeback. That sounded wrong. I can't be fucked to change that. But the biggest surprise to me was Margot Robbie. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I was never really a fan of hers. Apart from her performance as Harley Quinn, I just never thought she was that talented. I just saw her as another woman who's had all the doors opened for her just for being attractive.
And I'm so excited for you.
Oh,
it's
thanks.
incredible that you've gotten as far as you have with your obvious physical disadvantages. That's just pure talent there.
I know you could say the same thing about Brad Pitt, but I thought he always had enough talent to warrant his success. I just never saw the same thing with Margot Robbie. Well, in the intro, Margot Robbie was pretty much playing as an exaggerated version of how I always perceived her. She's just a beauty object. She licks her lips slowly, reveals her boobs, shakes her hips, men simp all over her, and she's welcomed into the industry. I couldn't stand it. But then it picked up, and I saw her bringing some major acting chops to her scenes. She shut me right the fuck up, watching her struggle with drugs, being self-destructive, crying on cue, and then being funny. She was fucking great here, possibly the best performance in the whole film. But speaking of Margot Robbie, I'm so confused by this. Babylon is ridiculously derivative of Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't see enough people talking about this. They're both based on true events in Hollywood, but both take extreme liberties. They both have these insane gags and set pieces. Both of them are about making movies, and they both star Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt. In fact, Brad Pitt's character is dealing with the exact same shit DiCaprio did in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Even the fucking dialogue felt Tarantino-esque. And the structure, when I think about it, Jesus. Like, remember Bruce Dern's part in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? It was this long, drawn-out departure from the main story. You either loved it or hated it. Babylon does the same shit quite a lot. Jesus, I've only just realized that. That's crazy. But Tarantino, clone issues aside, a load of these scenes felt too random for my liking with no real connective tissue. Oh look, someone's just been bitten by a poisonous snake. What, someone sucked the poison out and now it leads to a lesbian kiss? What the fuck? Why? Where did that go? A load of crazy parties, a death scene with no consequence, a black guy forced to wear dark makeup. It was also nutty and pointless in many ways. I think a load of it should have been trimmed. But thankfully it does get better from there. Jean Smart's monologue just encapsulated all of my feelings on the magic of film. It was beautiful, so well delivered, great acting, it really touched me. The scenes with Tobey Maguire were just incredible, and the overall message of why we want to watch films was great. And those final 5 minutes, it got to me. It turns out Babylon does have a lot more heart than I was expecting. So in the end, I loved Babylon. It's not usually my cup of tea, but the atmosphere, the music, the characters, and overall themes moved me and sucked me right in. Yeah, it's a bit too long, too self-indulgent, obnoxious, and a bit derivative of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But if you can get past all of that, you're in for one hell of a trip. This film is one crazy package directed with such ferocity, and it engaged me throughout. It's a bit mismarketed though. Don't let the debauchery mislead you. This film does have a lot more heart than you'd expect. And Margot Robbie, I thank you for shutting me up. Jesus Christ, you are an actress. I'm gonna give Babylon an 8.5 out of 10. Wow, that was nuts. I feel like I need to go to rehab or something. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay jiggy. The better appreciate you.